Hey friends, welcome to the Johnson City Living Podcast, where we learn about the people, places, events, and flavors that make Johnson City just a lovely place to live. I'm your host, Colin Johnson, with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Williams Realty. If you're interested in buying or selling a home in the area, or if you're looking at investing in a rental property, give us a call at 423-930-8003, and we will look forward to helping you. Now, let's get to today's episode. Let me introduce you, everybody. Welcome to the podcast, my friend, Johnny Bragg. Dr. Johnny Bragg.
Not the kind of doctor that can help you.
Is it more like Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, a little closer. Dr. Scholl's.
Dr. Scholl's. Dr. Enough. It's weird that the doctors have like a lot of soda. I don't know what the deal is that. Maybe that's because they want you to drink it and go see the doctor. I don't know. But you're known by Johnny B on the social media.
Yeah, most folks call me Johnny B. I'm Johnny Bragg, and been here forever, and friends with you, and I really appreciate getting to come over here.
Man, I am excited. I've wanted to have you on here for a while, and so I want my friends on the podcast, the listeners, to get to know you, because you're a great dude.
I agree.
100%. 100%. Every time I ask you if you're a good dude, you say yes. So, Johnny Bragg, you live in Johnson City. First question on Johnson City Living Podcast is, what do you love most about Johnson City?
Ooh, I excuse the language, but I bleep and love Johnson City. And I'm not just saying that I do. I mean, I've lived enough in other places to come back. Came back about 20 years ago and just love it. I think for me is just, it's gonna sound like this is totally a pat answer, but people are nice. Like overall, people are nice.
That's the number one answer on the Family Feud board. Ding, 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 ding.
It's true. They really are. Plus, see what you think about this. I really believe that when we live here, we stop looking at the mountains.
I agree.
We don't even notice them. The other day they were white and
they were gorgeous.
They were gorgeous. Yesterday I drove up through Watauga and Butler and was driving up to Mountain City, and it just I paid attention. And I love living near the mountains. And I have a few opportunities over the years to move to other places, new adventures. I can't leave the mountains.
Man, they're gorgeous. And the other day it was so cold, like I think it was one of the days it was like 9 degrees. And the air was crisp. And you could see like not the first range that we get to see all the time, but the second back layer. And they were just solid white. I guess that's where you go skiing.
It's gorgeous. I really do.
It was unbelievable.
People are nice. It's gorgeous outside.
They're not only pretty in the winter, the fall, people flock here. I was talking to another guy today. It's like, the New England falls now. People are coming here because it's warm and they're like, our fall's awesome. So.
It really is gorgeous. I lived 3 years in Vermont. And when I was moving up there, a gentleman that was at the company I was working with, he goes, "You're going to love Vermont because we have 4 seasons. And I thought, I didn't know other people don't have 4 seasons. We have 4 seasons.
Yeah, we do.
And we've got the mountains, and people are like, what was it like up there? I was like, it's a lot like East Tennessee, just colder in the winter.
Right.
And I think we've got it pretty doggone.
Winter.
Yeah, a lot longer winter, but I think we got it pretty doggone good here.
We do. Okay, well, it's good having you on the podcast. Guess we can get to some other questions if you want. How long have you lived in Johnson City?
We moved to Johnson City when I was in 1st grade, and I'm old now, so a long, long time.
Damn.
And been here all the way through, lived in the city, lived in the county, and moved away a little bit, 3 years in Vermont and 2 years in Dallas, a year in Fort Worth, but I was on the road for about a year. But overall, I've been here my whole life, and at this point, my kids are raised.
Yep.
I'm mobile, I can go wherever. I'm here by choice.
Right.
And I love it, and I'm not just saying that.
Where'd you go to high school?
Daniel Boone, go Trailblazers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job.
Back in the Jurassic era.
Did you go to college somewhere?
I did go to college. I went to a private Bible college in Texas, and then I went to ETSU.
And that's where you got your doctorate? Mm-hmm. And what's your doctorate in?
Education.
Ah, nice. That's good. Okay. What do you like to do for fun?
I hang out with you mostly. I like to hang out with you big time. I think,
Oh, yes.
whenever I see interviews and podcasts and stuff, people ask people of this age, hey, what do you like? And they're always like, well, I like books and movies, which is not that interesting.
I think they're lying. I don't know any people who I watch a lot of movies.
I watch a lot of movies.
I like books. Do I read them all the way through? I'm not. I need to become a better reader.
I'm a voracious reader.
Are you?
Yes, I do. But I'm really involved in the local cigar scene here, as you know, and I've got a lot of friends over there. I spend a lot of time with my guys, a lot of time with my friends, and I travel a lot with social media and people. It's a job, it really is, but it's also fun, and that's the neat thing about stumbling into social media, which I did almost 10 years ago.
That's what I was going to say. What started this deal?
I was watching YouTube videos, and I watched some guys, and I literally one day said I could do that, and I went down in the basement, filmed a video, posted it, and it was embarrassing to look back at now, but I thought, I can do this. And I did a few, and then one of them hit the Google algorithm and got a little bit of traction, and here I am, and it's turned into a hobby that's out of control. So I travel a lot for fun, and it really is. It's turned into a lot of fun. I'm on the road quite a bit.
Would you consider it a hobby now?
It's a hobby. I mean, it's
kind of funding. I mean, I would
it's a
think
livelihood.
It's pretty good, right?
I mean, it is. It's a livelihood, and social media money is good when things hit and the stars align. But it still feels like a hobby to me. I pinch myself all the time. I go on trips, and I'm like, I cannot believe I get to do this.
Somebody's paying me to come talk at some event because I have a lot of followers on YouTube. Is that right? Like that's the deal.
That's how it works. Clicks and eyeballs.
Johnny B. What's your name of your show?
Johnny B.
And did you come up with that on your own?
I hired a consulting agency. And we were going to call it Johnny, but then we came up with Johnny B.
Right, because you don't want to get confused with anybody else that's out there on social
media.
media.
Just YouTube, Johnny B, and my face is on there. It's embarrassing. It's funny talking to you.
What do you talk about?
I talk about this country and how much I love this country and how I think the Constitution is awesome and the founding fathers. And I just love this place. And it's gotten, like I said, a little out of control, got a little traction. I love America, and I love talking about America.
You know, I may get in trouble here for some listeners, but I feel like, one, the Bible was inspired by the Holy Spirit, written through people, right? I feel like the Constitution is like right there. It's not right there with the Bible, but secondarily, I think they wrote it. The Holy Spirit was working on that thing. Like for a document to be how many years old now?
At least 50.
It's got to be over 50, I think, maybe a couple hundred. But for that to be still like relevant today and still be true, and like just for them to think about all the things that could happen in the future, it was just cool. And so I love the Constitution as well. I think it's just neat.
There's a lot of folks that believe that Manifest Destiny was inspired from the Almighty. I don't know. I know that I still believe in this country, and I know that I'm glad to live here. And like I said a minute ago, I love it. I love America.
Yeah. God bless the USA. So what does life look like for you on the daily in Johnson City? I mean, you probably wake up about noon, got to get down to somewhere soon, making T-shirts. I'm just kidding. So tell us about your daily events.
Day-to-day life, I live life. I literally work 3 jobs, and because I love it, and people don't believe me when I say that, and I do. I work 7 days a week because I love it.
Because you're a hustler. You always be hustling.
I enjoy it. I really do. And so every day, I just came from my studio. I have a studio up in North Johnson City, and spent most of the day today filming and editing. And so that's most of the day. Usually there's a big chunk of it where I'm editing, dealing with subscribers, dealing with comments, and dealing with advertisers and the behind the scenes stuff. People think that working with a crowd that's the primary part of it. There's so much behind the scenes. And even here, like seeing all of this, there's always so much more to do. And that's what this is really weird, because rarely do I actually talk to people in person about this, because it's all through a medium. It's all through a lens. And to actually sit down and talk to somebody.
It's like freaking you out, isn't it?
It's not freaking me out, but it's unique. And I'll even call it refreshing.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Well, you can put me on the other side of the camera anytime you want, and you can pretend like we're just having a conversation. So tell me about how you get inspired to do your post. Like, talk to us. Like, I mean, I am a social influencer novice. I don't even know, what I'm doing. So, like, what does it look like for you to make a post? Where do you get the ideas? How's it come about? And maybe for our listeners, they can.
There's 3 ways. One, you're just reposting other people's content, which is, that's what Johnson City Press right down there do. When it says AP at the top, they're just reposting.
Right.
WJHL's, their feed is great on Facebook, but a lot of our national news reposting, so I'm doing a lot of that. Second, I'll just watch. I'm a voracious news watcher. I'm paying attention. I'll see something. And it's usually have to be an emotional reaction to me. It's either got to make me upset or make me happy or just make me inspired.
Okay.
Or it's just what's stirring in my noggin. Today, I got up this morning, checked my phone, was going through Instagram, and a friend of mine posted a picture from the 60s of the astronauts, the Apollo astronauts on the beach. They all had matching Corvettes with rally stripes. They're all different colors.
That's cool.
And I saw that and I thought in my mind, I said, America's pretty doggone cool.
Yeah.
And then I thought, no way, we're a lot cooler than we remember. And so I spent about 2 hours writing a script, and it's up. It went live about 20 minutes before I got here, and I spent the whole, almost the whole day today talking about how cool America is from one picture that I saw from the 60s.
Look at that. That's cool. And along with America.
America's cool.
America is cool. It's crazy that they had Instagram back in the day.
Instagram in the 60s, it was on DOS, but it was good.
Had it all on a floppy disk.
Yes,
like
100%.
Upload the picture.
Reel to reel.
Oh, cool. So what was your first job ever?
My very first job, working at Camp Davy Crockett Boy Scout Camp down in White Pine, out in Bulls Gap, Tennessee.
I've spent a night or a weekend at the Davy Crockett campground.
Lived out there, and I think I made $65 a week, and was glad to have it, and it was awesome. Loved it.
That's cool. I think we went for a dad and lad weekend, and it poured the rain the whole time. I remember sitting in the tent just like it was today, just pelting the rain.
Summer, when I was 15, that summer, the entire summer break after my sophomore year of 16, I think I slept in a bed 7 or 8 nights that whole summer. I slept in a tent.
The rest of
the whole summer. Yeah, it was great. Camp David Crockett was great. It's good first job. Downhill from there.
How did you choose to say, hey, I want to get a doctorate in education?
There was a program at ETSU, the ELPA program that I saw. I thought it looked really good. I talked to a few of their graduates. They said big thumbs up that it looked good. And I applied literally the next day. And it was 5 years of my life I'll never get back. It's hard, and it's complete. And I hope, honest to goodness, I never write another paper as long as I live.
There you go. But this morning, you wrote a script.
Yeah, script, yeah. But no sources, no sources.
And it was probably digital. You didn't have actual paper.
We're good,
like
yeah.
What kind of advice would you have for, first of all, tell the audience what a social media influencer is, or what's a YouTube star like yourself? Where do you get, when are you just go from novice to like stardom like yourself?
I do a lot of YouTube consulting, and whenever I work with people that are new into YouTube, first you just got to find out which medium you want to work in. Primarily YouTube is where the eyeballs are.
Okay.
YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world after Google, and it's also owned by Google. They're tied in, so that's where the people are.
Okay.
I think like TikTok today in 2024 is fool's gold because there's not a lot of money in it, or if for people that are wanting to create a career. I always tell people, you don't go into it trying to make money. You don't go into it trying to work it as a business. You go into it because you have to. Like, this is something I want to do. Mm-hmm. And it has to be a passion. It really does. And so I always work with people just to create the channel that you want. I was talking to a lady the other day that watches a lot of cooking channels, and she's like, but I can't find one that does stuff for a larger family. So how to cook for an army of littles.
That's good.
And so she found a niche. And I'm at the point where I'm just like, go watch as much as you can, look at their lighting, look at their sound, and then find your own voice. So I tell people whenever I work with folks that are new to media, do what you want to do because you have to, and then create the things that you want to watch. And I think that was good advice given to me a long time ago, and it's worked out. How about you? What would you say to people if they want to start a podcast? You've got a lot of episodes under your belt. What would you say?
We've got a few. I would say number one is connect with a great podcast producer like Maypop Media and Mitch McGarry back over here. That's number one. Because honestly, I wanted to do a podcast back during the pandemic, and I spent a day and a half looking at microphones alone. Like, what do we do? Do I get the rodeo? Do I get the da-da-da-da-da? How many whatevers does it need to have? I was like, I don't even know. And then what do I plug it into? And then how do I mix it? How do I record it? How do we do all this stuff? And then that's just getting it recorded. You got to edit it. So you need software, and you need a thingamajiggy and a doomaflachi, and Mitch knows all the names of these things. And then you got to post it somewhere to where actually people are going to see it. And how do you upload it? And how do you do all that stuff? So honestly, I would say you can call me and I'll just give you Mitch's number. But I think for me, following my heart in it, I was like, I want to start a podcast. And then honestly, I got overwhelmed with that. And I said, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And then so my friend Leighton Hart had started one. And I said, hey, how'd you do it? And can I, I'm thinking about doing it. And he said, oh, well, interestingly, I'm thinking about getting out of this and doing something else. So I guess you could just find somebody who's getting out and take their podcast over like I did. But yeah, I think it's just finding your, like you said, what do you want to talk about? I love Johnson City like you. I think it's one of the best places on the planet. I think the people are the best things on the planet. And so that's why I'm here. I'm trying to promote all the people in Johnson City so that everywhere out in the world, they're hearing about it and they're coming and they are coming. And so secondarily, I like for people listening to say, hey, I'd like to move to Johnson City and I'm going to contact Colin. And you can contact me now and I'll help you find somebody to sell your house wherever you are so you can get here if you're even worried about that. So that's an answer to your question. What's your next question for me?
My next question for you. All right, so you're talking about moving. I love real estate. I really do. And you and I, here's what's fun, because in addition to being social media micro influence is the right word. Like I'm
is
not
it micro? I'm like
I like the
if
word
you're
micro.
micro, then I'm like minuscule.
No, we together are micro influencers.
I'm like
we have a small but loyal audience. And I tell people, I got stopped in the airport one time to sign something, and some people beside at the coffee shop said, oh my gosh, who are you? And I said, I'm really important to like 15 people, and I found one.
That was my cousin.
Yeah. But in addition to doing this, like we're also friends and outside in the street, and
we do hang out outside.
We hang out, and we just walk through you just walked me through the process of a home contract. So I'm in between the contract getting signed and moving in. I had a great experience.
Well, good.
But also, I mean, this was my 5th house, and the old rodeo, it's not my first one.
Right.
What advice do you have for people that may have never bought a house, or they've only bought houses in other markets, other states? Somebody buying their first house in East Tennessee.
I like you. You're just teeing me up for some good questions.
I love real estate. I really do.
I love real estate because it's the people. Again, like we get to hang out, look at houses together, laugh about stuff, and then we get to talk about stuff because this is where you're building your home. You're going to have your family come hang out with you, and we're going to smoke cigars on your front and back porch on this new Plaid you got, which is really cool. But I think first step would be to connect with somebody who has been around a while. I mean, there are around 1,800 agents in our market now. Some of them have just gotten their license, right? And so you don't know that if you're on Instagram and you're like, hey, I'm just going to choose that guy. He sold a house. And so the average agent in our market sells 8 houses a year. Our team, we sold close to 70 last year, and we've sold over 1,000 for the past 20 years. And so I think connecting with somebody who's going to take good care of you too, and not about you. It's not about them and the transaction just being done. Like I want to get through this thing and I want to, turn it over and do the next one, and just churn and burn. It's like, I love people. I want to know what's going on in your life. What are you doing with this house? Why are you buying it? I always try and help people make money when they buy a home instead of when they sell, which will in turn provide the money. It'll show up when they sell. And we talked about that. We were in a tough spot on your house. There were multiple offers, so we had to pay maybe a hair over market. But then we talked about what can we do to add value to it. And so I love looking at different houses all the time. But I think step one would be connect with a great agent or team in our sense, and then we'll help you get connected with a great lender and walk you through the process. And really my goal is to protect you and take care of you through the whole thing.
What's the biggest mistake, either new home buyers or ones that have had multiple, all home buyers, what's one of the biggest mistakes people stumble into?
I think some people may get pre-qualified for, say, $500,000, and they're like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and buy that house. And not to say there are lenders out there that are giving you too much money, but I think for me, I want to does that make sense for you does this payment make sense right now? And looking at somebody and making sure that's going to be okay. Because I don't want them to be house poor and they're like cussing me later because they're like, hey, we can't even go on vacation because you sold us this big old house. I think that'd be one. I think just each house is very different. Every house is different unless you're buying some new construction in just a new development or something. I think looking for the issues on the front end and not thinking through that would be my concern. Like, what's the deferred maintenance? Does it need a roof? Does the HVAC, plumbing, what's that look like? Do we need to update it? What is that going to cost? Again, connecting people with different vendors to kind of give them estimates on that. So
I sat down last
night. They go
night.
in, they don't know exactly what they're getting into.
Yeah. I sat down last night with a friend of mine. He's a realtor, and we sat down, had a cold beverage, and he's with a different agency. Great dude. He's doing really well, doing really some neat stuff, doing a lot of flips. And there's a lot of agencies. I know a lot of agents. Where do you guys shine? What is maybe one of your niches? Because not everybody can do everything.
Right.
Where do y'all shine?
Two places I think we shine in. We know the market in Johnson City and surrounding burbs like Jonesboro, Irwin, Elizabethton, Gray really well. We know that market well, and so I can tell you kind of like, hey, are we overpaying here? I've just got a sense of, is this area going to develop well and grow? And so I think I shine and I want to protect my client and take good care of them. The other side of it is we do a lot of property management, and I feel like we do that well too. Again, the whole goal is how do I take care of my client and take really good care of them, help them do some fun stuff, grow their wealth through real estate. If you just had a baby, I tell you it's a great time to, if you've got any extra cash, put it down on a rental property, and then later on we can sell that. We'll rent it out the whole time they're growing up, and then we can sell it one day, and you can pay off their college and all kinds of fun stuff. And so I just love helping people grow wealth through real estate is where I think I shine.
Johnson City's amazing. We know we love it. You love it. I love it.
I love it.
Again, I'm here by choice.
Yeah.
What is an area that we don't shine in? What's the one thing you'd like to see maybe change or shift over the next decade?
I think we've got too many social media influencers, just
Too many podcasts.
too many podcasts. That's a tough question because, it's like trying to find the flaw in the diamond. I mean, it's going to be a small one. I think I wish we could have gone back like 100 years ago when we were laying the city out. I would have said, let's lay out the downtown a little differently. I think our downtown is developing rapidly and becoming awesome. Still got we're sandwiched between some railroad tracks and that kind of thing. I think the way we've developed different areas of town is not as like it doesn't flow as well as I'd like for it to, but we are where we are. I think overall it's a great spot. We're going to see, unfortunately, I feel like we're going to see a lot more development and a lot more growth. But let's get back to you. You're the guest. You flipped the script on me.
That's what I do.
It must be some kind of control freak, and so you did a good job. Let's talk about Johnny B. I know you mentioned you talk about different things, but what are some of the main topics if somebody's looking for your channel? How are they going to find you? Like, how do you get more people following you?
Because a lot of the following comes through the YouTube algorithm. YouTube is constantly showing new stuff. So when anybody gets on YouTube and you start scrolling through, not everything you see are your channels that you subscribe to. They're just random stuff, but YouTube knows. It's the same way that Facebook shows you things that you might be interested in. So a lot of it's through that, and a lot of them for me.
They're listening right now.
They are listening right now.
They're watching us.
Watching and listening.
This is on the YouTube right now. Did you know that?
I did not know that. So we're on YouTube. It's good.
Yeah, we are right now. We're going to tag your.
It's good. Please click the descriptions below if there's any links down there. If there's any coupon codes, use those. Like, subscribe, and please leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you.
Was that your radio announcer voice?
That was my radio announcer voice. There's more where that came from.
I want to hear the car salesman's here in a minute.
That's a big one is just the YouTube algorithm, but a lot of it's word of mouth. And then, I'm on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff. So all of it just kind of goes in a big circle. And you do a year's worth of videos. I've done thousands now, but you do a full year's worth of videos. 1, 2, 3, or 4 of those are going to hit, and they're going to get sucked into the algorithm, and people are just going to come in. I do a lot of comedy. I do on Wednesdays and Fridays, I do meme shows, and I literally I'll do 20 straight memes or 20 straight minutes of nothing but memes. And it's gotten a life of its own.
That's cool.
Spicy Friday on Fridays is hopping. And so people share that with friends. Yeah. And I hear nonstop, I'll see people will post on Instagram or send videos or something that they're showing on the TV at their house. And that way their friends, families, in-laws, and outlaws, oh, I found out about it over at a friend of mine's house.
That's fun.
Yeah, the living room TV is now the big one for me. So it's a labor of love. It's a lot of fun. And I am completely embarrassed that we're talking about it because it's usually so hidden. I just hide on a studio and nobody knows in my day-to-day life.
Well, we want to bump you up. I mean, we've got hundreds of listeners that are listening right now.
Tens of clicks.
Tens of clicks coming through. What's your favorite thing to talk about? Like, I mean, I know you mentioned Constitution in America, but there's some other topics you probably like to talk about.
For me, I love traditional America. I will not relent that I love the days of Andy Griffith. There's days where men were men, women were women. They went to church, they served the Lord, and it was just a good time in America, and I love those days.
Where do you think we went wrong, Johnny B?
Where do we go wrong? Let me make a list. I'm pushing 50, and I really believe that my generation got to experience, we may not be the best generation, but I thought we got to experience some really cool times.
Yeah.
And I'm in a constant circling back to traditional American values and just standing up for what's right, telling the truth, being honest, and just having a doggone awesome life. I love freedom. I really do. I mean, I crave freedom. For one man to tell another man what to do. I'm not a big fan of that.
Right.
And that's the reason we kicked King George in the teeth a long time ago.
Yep.
And
however, I think there's some boundaries there, like I think that's why there are laws around and that kind of thing. But I think I'm with you. I'm 50. I'm going to be 51 in May. And you and I grew up around the same time. So we had like just Andy Griffith, the Ward and June Cleaver, Leave It to Beaver, the Brady Bunch.
Which we know that on some level was Hollywood and it's not real life. We know. I know that. I know that.
On the other side of it, I went down the street to the Braswells and they felt like Ward and June and talked to, Scott and Matt were their kids. And it was just like, like quintessential America, And so going from that to, we're in a different world. You and I've watched like the evolution of social media now, and how that's just the 50 years you and I've been on the planet has been nuts, just how rapidly we're changing and evolving and growing. I'm a little scared for the next 50. So
we need to get off these devices. And what's funny is I love my cell phone.
Yeah.
I will never not be baffled that I can pick up a phone with no cords.
Yeah.
And talk to my kids like it's
they're right there.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love my laptop.
You can see them. FaceTime.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love this stuff. We're on them too much. We need to return to outside.
I was just listening to the way I heard it, Mike Rose podcast. 12 hours a day is what the average. 12. I don't look at my screen time because I don't want to know, but
I look at my screen time every Sunday and it is
around there.
It's troubling. It really is. Now mine get pumped up because I have audiobooks going almost all the time.
I'm always listening to podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice tool. I love technology. But overall, we've lost something and we're in trouble. We're in a lot of trouble if things don't change. And so you ask me, what do I talk about? I love talking about trying to get back, at least for myself, to basic and traditional American values.
And what would be your advice for someone to get there? How do we get there?
This is going to sound like a pat answer also, but I think starting by just reading the Constitution. And it is a powerful document. We have a mutual friend, Jared, who has the Constitution tattooed all over him. And people see that and they think, that's a little odd. The dude's serious about it.
He is.
And it challenges me. And then also it comes down to the basic thing. Who do we surround ourselves with? If you surround yourself with knuckleheads, you're going to be a knucklehead.
That's right.
And I hang out with guys and gals that are not perfect. We've all blown it.
Oh gosh.
I'm
1,000%.
I told somebody yesterday, I love Jesus, but I cuss too much.
Yeah.
And not perfect, but I hang out with some people that regularly and purposefully that love this country and are headed in a direction that I want to be headed in. I hang out with people that I look up to, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah. I think that axiom's true. You're the sum of the 5 people you hang out with and the books you read. I think it's really true. And so I think I'm glad I get to hang out with you and Jared. And I need to read the Constitution again. That's a good one. We should be doing that. Yeah. What's the future of Johnny B look like? How are you evolving and changing? And like 5-10 years from now, or are you just going to have like an AI bot just sitting there that still ruggedly handsome like yourself that's just doing it? And then you're living in the, wherever you want to be. You're in the Caymans and just it's doing its all by itself.
I am a pasty pink bald dude that looks like a Muppet. I am the opposite of ruggedly handsome.
Oh, whatever.
But I'll take it.
Okay.
The future, there's a life cycle.
Well, you are single, aren't you?
I am single.
Ready to
Please click the
mingle.
link right down below.
On the show notes, he'll have his personal cell phone number.
Yeah. I'm literally covering my face right now. For people who are listening on the podcast, I'm literally covering my face.
He's a good-looking guy.
Future for me is there's a life cycle in social media, and I am under no pretense that I'll even be doing what I'm doing right now a year from now. But as of right now, I've got thankfully, enough sponsors and followers that things are rocking and rolling and are literally out of control. It's really good. 2 weeks. Remember the 2 weeks to flatten the curve? You remember that?
Oh yeah.
You remember those days?
Yeah.
The week of the 2 weeks, I started with a friend of mine. I started a T-shirt company in Johnson City, and that's also out of control. And probably transitioning towards that. Like as that continues to grow.
Yeah.
My life cycle on YouTube will probably come to a conclusion. I work for a network in Atlanta where I produce content for them, and that's going really, really well. So I'm going to keep doing that. So the future is probably continuing to produce video content for Atlanta and selling T-shirts. I love T-shirts, and I love small business, and a lot of T-shirts down the road, which I know is odd, but they're soft and they're comfy. So yeah,
It's hard to beat a good T-shirt.
that's my future. That's my 50s. Wild time I'm living.
Wearing some nice T-shirts.
Yes.
That you've made.
Yep.
What are some of the difficult things? Like, it sounds all just fun and glamorous and exciting, making T-shirts and making videos. And what are some of the hard things about
It is good. Like I
being
go
a
on
social media influencer, besides going everywhere and people wanting your autograph and all that?
The going out is a lot of fun, and it really is. But the behind the scenes, what you said, not many people understand what you said and how true that is. I spent an entire day looking at microphones. I spent an entire day doing this or doing that, and the technology is a serious undertaking. I spend 5 to 15 hours minimum a week editing, and I've probably spent 4 today already editing, and that's a big part of it. Also,
Like airbrushing your face.
yes,
and
trying
that
to
kind of
get the
stuff, and
pastiness.
putting the 6-pack in there.
Trying to get the 2-pack in there,
Yeah.
and not looking so much like a snowman. I want less snowman here.
It's hard to cut it up when you're moving and that kind of
It
thing.
really is.
CGI is
and I'm
good.
trying to be svelte.
Yeah.
That's a big one. And then also working with sponsors. Like I've got I have a talent agent in Michigan that handles all of my sponsorships.
How cool is that?
And it sounds really cool, but it's just a tool. It's just it helps. And so my talent agent works with a lot of that, but it's a lot, like contracts and negotiations, and just trying to fulfill, and you're juggling balls nonstop.
And then how do you know, like, yeah, I mean, because you've got a lot of sponsors, and then you're sending out videos, and you try to put certain stuff in those videos, and then they pay you per click or something through that. I don't know. Is that how that works? And then how do you make sure you're getting the amount of money that you agreed to in your contract? And I mean, that alone sounds like a full-time job.
It is. It's busy, and it's worth it, but it's busy.
Yeah, that's crazy. How many different sponsors do you think you have?
Currently, over the course of a year, probably 40 to 50 in the course of a year, maybe sometimes some years less.
Okay.
I'm pretty selective of who I work with, and then I've got a couple primary sponsors, and it's a blessing. But again, it comes down to eyeballs. I mean, the same in real estate. The more people you can get to see these houses, the more success you're going to be able to have.
Traction.
It's nothing but clicks and eyeballs. I try really hard to do it the right way.
Same.
And I only promote things that I really believe in. And what's interesting is, it sounds like such a commercial, but I only work primarily with companies that I was using before I ever was working in this space.
Right, because you know and trust them beforehand, and they've stayed true to their brand. What's the most interesting episode you've ever done?
Most interesting episode
let's go there, and then we can talk about the coolest sponsor you got going on right now.
Probably the most interesting episode for me is for many years, there's a training ranch out in Oregon that trains people in self-defense, trains people in defending their homes and defending their person, and I'd heard of it for years and years. Thunder Ranch, it's called, and it's led by a husband and wife team, Clint and Heidi Smith. And Clint Smith is an honest-to-goodness American hero, like an honest-to-goodness hero, old school.
That's
old
cool.
school, Vietnam vet. And I made fun of him one time on an episode because he talks like this and he's got this voice and he's blah, blah, blah. And I cut up one of his, he was doing a teaching, an hour-long teaching, and I cut up all the and ha ha ha. And I just kind of, it was just funny to me, and I cut it up, not to be mean, but just I think he's a character.
Right.
His wife saw it, absolutely loved it, reached out to me, sent me a big box of swag, sent me sweatshirts and all this, invited me out. And now 5 or 6 years later, I have been out there, I think 6 times now. I went out twice last year.
Yeah.
They are honest to goodness, close personal friends. They are in my tribe and I'm in their tribe. And I honestly love these people. One silly episode, and I now have what I humbly say is lifelong friendships and so many good memories, because when I go, I stay for a while, and it's magical. Over a silly YouTube video, and now I'm flying across the country regularly to see friends.
That's cool. That's what I love about social media, and I love about the technology and the phone. I love that we can connect with people all over the world, and it's like we're right there with them. And they can, I mean, we're getting to meet people we would have never, ever thought about meeting in the 50 years ago, right? I mean, we had to dial it with our finger, and then even then you don't know,
Kids, y'all can look that one up with the
rotary dial phone, the rotary phone, and the cord that you would run down the hall and hold on to have and talk to your friends or whatever. Okay, what are you listening to or reading about currently that's inspiring you?
Inspiring, I don't know if the right word is inspiring. I am listening to a book about Musashi, and he was a 16th century 17th century samurai warrior, and true story. And it's about his life, and it's so different, and it's not the typical stuff that I read. And I just stumbled on it in Asheville at a bookstore, and then I read about it, and of course it's a classic. And I'm reading about the 1600s samurai warfare, and for me it's just feels good to learn something different and not be in that same old circle that I tend to go in.
Yeah. You've got sponsors. Let's give them some shout outs. What's the coolest sponsor you got going on right now? I mean, they're all cool, right? But
coolest sponsor I have right now is CMMG, and they are in Missouri. It's an American, 2 brothers, American-made muscle, and about 20 years ago, they got together in their garage and decided to make American firearms.
Oh.
And it blew up and got out of control. And really, really, really good company, and they're continuing. They have a 75,000 square foot where they make everything in-house, American-made, and they're still making firearms to help people protect their lives and also do sports shooting and target shooting.
How fun is that?
It really is, and they're really good to me, and I'm proud to represent them. CMMG.com.
Click here. All right. If you were hosting the podcast, what should I have asked you that I didn't?
How about we talk about the food? What's your favorite restaurant right now?
See, we do get to the speed round here in a little bit. But currently, the favorite restaurant, I just had lunch at Southern Craft with my buddy, and it was delicious. Like it's just, their wings are just really, really, really good. So I'm going to go with Southern Craft currently. Cootie Brown's would be another good one that's always good.
2 local favorites.
Had dinner with some good friends the other night at Juniper. It's really good. Like, I grew up not liking Brussels sprouts. They make Brussels sprouts that just blow your socks off. You're like, I want to go back and eat them. Actually, I drove by there the other day and I go, I wonder if I could just cruise in there and get just a thing of Brussels sprouts and sit at the bar and eat some Brussels sprouts. That'd be great. So, what's your favorite restaurant currently around town?
I think for me, it's going to be, we call it El Kroger or El Food Lion. And what's funny is because it's a Mexican restaurant, a lot of folks.
You're talking El Food Line, and then there's El Kroger.
They're the same restaurant, but it's funny because I can't pronounce the name of the restaurant. It's a Mexican restaurant.
There's El Charlais.
El Charlais is how you say it. Charlais.
Charlais?
Charlais.
I think it was Charlais.
It's like a Charlais cow, yes. Yeah. But everybody, because it's in the same shopping center as Food Line and the same shopping center as Kroger, call it El Kroger and El Food Line.
Yeah.
Here's what I found out recently. You can type into Google El Kroger.
And it'll pop up.
It comes up. So
That's awesome.
I
That's
really
because
love it.
they're listening when we're talking
They
on
are.
it. Hey, we're going to meet down at the El Kroger.
El Kroger. It's amazing. They have a regular Mexican menu, and on the very back, they have a slightly more authentic. Jose Luis is the proprietor, and he has a different food distributor than the other Mexican restaurants in the area.
Nice.
I'm a big believer in the El Food line. I love
They
the
are
back
really
menu.
good.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's my favorite.
Why is queso so darn good?
It's melted cheese.
It's just
the nectar of the gods.
It's just gold. Where's your favorite place to get a burger?
That's a challenge. That is a challenge in Johnson City because I know that Five Guys is commercial. I know that they're national. Hard to beat a Five Guys burger. 2, Burger Barn is Burger Barn in the hotel.
I don't know which. Oh, Barn.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. But number 1 is going to be
Maybe
Gourmet
Bar.
and Company.
It may be Bar. Yes.
Officially, we don't know. Yeah, Gourmet is where it's at with the truffle oil on it. It is hard
Benton's
to
bacon.
beat. Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah. Mount
Gourmet's
Castle
burger
Burger
is
just
magical.
unbelievable. Gourmet. Mm-hmm. Good job. They're doing a great job over there. I should have him on the podcast, he and Vaughn. All right, pizza.
Pizza's a tough thing because people have strong opinions on pizza, and
Our friend Jared from up north, he thinks he's got the pizza, like, he thinks his pizza kicks ours.
he really does. Northern pizza is amazing. I mean, a New York style thin crust is great. There's a lot of good pizza. I've had people that go, "Oh, such and such is garbage. Such and such is it's all cheesy bread."
Come on,
At the end of the day, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to Sim's. I'm going to go south. Love Gregg's, love Giovanni's, but probably at Sim's. Meat lovers. When Sim's is on, you can't beat it.
We love our friends at Sim's. Monday night, dollar slice night. We'll see you there. Richard Ballard will be there, dollar slicing it. What's your favorite coffee shop? You're a coffee connoisseur.
Right now, I believe my favorite coffee is going to be Dos Gatos, which is just right through those walls right there. I love Dos Gatos. That means 2 cats, I learned recently. Yeah. And that's a really, really good one. Open Doors right up the hill is good. Commercial-wise, the new 7 Brew is kind of interesting. There's a price to pay to go there because they got the music going and the young people. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. They're going to ask you questions that you're like, I don't really know the answer to that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of fun, and every 7th coffee's free. So that's more the commercial.
Nice, yeah.
That's the fast one. How about you? Favorite coffee?
I love Open Doors. The Marians are great. They're supporting, Rise Up, which is near and dear to our hearts. We love Open Doors, probably number 1. Brett up here at the Moon he's got a great cup of coffee. And then I saw a place I didn't have time to swing by, but there are these little pop-ups happening. There's Wonderlust Coffee over there in front of Project Barbecue.
I heard it is amazing.
I heard it's great too.
I had one to go. Somebody brought me one last week. It was, to use that word again, magical. Yeah. I haven't actually been there yet, but Wanderlust.
And then I was in Jonesboro driving past the jail where I dropped you off because you had to check in with your parole guy. And there was a place out front called Sweet Caroline's. And it looked cool. And so I think it's neat. Again, we're in this neat digital economy where you can set up a coffee shop in a Airstream or whatever, and then boom, you just put it out on the World Wide Web where you are, and people come by and buy coffee, and you've got a business.
Love small business. Love it.
I do too. Where did you get that? So, did you get that itch from your parents, like being an entrepreneur, or?
I don't know. I think it's a good question. How do I become an entrepreneur? I think for me it was not, because my dad worked for the Forest Service, still does. He's been there for a long time, and so he worked for a large unit.
Wasn't he on the like in the deal with God making dirt and then they made the trees? And
it was right after the conquistadors left.
Yeah, I mean, I met him. He's an older fella.
Yeah, that comes right after the conquistadors, then the U.S. Forest Service.
There you go.
Subscribe for more. That's quality content. For me, I think it came out of frustration. I had a T-shirt company that was representing my gear. So when I say, hey, wear my swag, down in Georgia, good guys. They got a little bit in a financial pickle, and they did not pay me my commission one quarter.
Ouch.
And yeah, it was a little bit, and it bothered me. And I got frustrated and thought about it for a few weeks, and then I went, wait, hang on a minute. I can do this. And so hired a lawyer, got an LLC going, and opened up 6 weeks later. So for me, it was born out of frustration.
Yeah.
And then I started doing...
What's the name of your T-shirt company?
Tristar Trading.
Tristar Trading.
TristarTrading.com.
Try and say that 5 times fast.
And we handle merchandise for a lot of different YouTubers, including myself.
That's cool.
And it's been good. I've learned a lot, and I am really, really proud. It's weird to hear you say entrepreneur. I've never used that word for myself, but I'm like, yeah, maybe. Like,
oh yeah, you got like 3 or 4 different hustles going. I mean, it's pretty crazy. And you don't have a boss, right? I mean, you're your own
I have
boss.
no boss.
Well, you do have Miss Sakura, the boss lady that you say all the time.
Boss lady is my business partner, and we work as a good team together, and we complement each other because the things that she handles, I don't want to touch. But it's been good. It's been really, really good, and I'm proud of this company here in Johnson. And people will stop me and they go, "Hang on, Tristar Trading? Like I've been shopping with them forever. They're in Johnson City." Yeah, and like so many people don't know we're here because we're 100% online.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really proud to have, in the middle of COVID, when everything was closing and mom and pop, unfortunately, so many companies closed, that we just sprouted. It's kind of like the flower that gets planted in the concrete or in the sidewalk and sprouts anyway. We're blessed, and I'm very thankful.
Now, if somebody has like a T-shirt idea, like hey, I want to put a couch on the T-shirt and do something, can they contact you for that kind of stuff? You sure? Even if I ask?
If you ask me. No, what we do is we handle merchandise for YouTubers, but people do holler
So you got to
at
be
us.
a YouTuber before you can call.
Well, we
John
work
to
in the
be-
commercial side, but
Okay.
people do holler at us and they're like, "Hey, what about my sports team?" We know all the printers in the area, and yeah, 100%, I can steer people in the right direction. But we do very large runs, but
How
there's
many
a lot
T-shirts are you going to sell this year in 2024? Ballpark.
it's tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 minimum.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been really good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's your funniest T-shirt you've ever made?
Funniest T-shirt I've ever made. I don't think I'm wearing it today. I got one I was wearing it earlier today that just says disobey.
Yeah.
And people see that and they're like, "What? Who are you disobeying?" And I'm like, "The world. I'm a rebel."
It's up to you.
Yeah, it's up to you. We got that. And 20 years ago in Granby, Colorado in 2004, there was a gentleman that got completely railroaded by his city council, and his name was Marvin Heemeyer.
And I don't think this is a funny one. This is more of like a
Oh, no, it's funny.
an homage.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And Marvin Heemeyer finally got fed up with his local government, and in a bad way. Like, you hear his story, it's really sad.
That story's
Like,
terrible.
They cut off his business, his muffler shop, from the main road, and they wouldn't even give like the public access. It's nonsense. Small town nonsense. So he builds a giant bulldozer, armors it in, and just goes down and levels the mayor's house. Nobody was in it.
Right.
Leveled the mayor's house because that makes it right. And
Didn't
leveled.
you get the police office?
He got that. He also got the newspaper because the newspaper was writing all sorts of stuff. Just leveled the
whole
place.
city.
It's a sad story, but I've got a giant Killdozer shirt, and the people are like, "What is that? Really the Killdozer?" So he said, "What's the funny one?" I think it's kind of sad, but also just a tribute to some nonsense and a guy that stood up for what he believed in.
Yeah, which is what we got to do, right? In America. Yeah.
Minus bulldozing the mayor's office.
We'll put in the show notes. We'll disclaimer: we do not encourage that or
Disobey.
Well, you can disobey sometimes, but how can our listeners connect with you online?
Easiest way is type Johnny B into YouTube. That's just by far the easiest way, and
Is it like
goes out from there.
BEE, like the bumblebee?
Yes, it is just like that. It's Johnny Bumblebee and .com.
Is that why
Thanks.
you're wearing your yellow and black hat?
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing the yellow black hat.
Yeah, and I know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks.
pretty smart.
Can't get one. Yeah.
And are you on the Instagram? Same thing, Johnny
Yeah,
B?
at Appalachiabees. I had for a long time.
Is that your
my
honey
set-
business? They make
No.
the honey and you make the money?
I had on my set. I had some greenery in the back and a nice little lamp a couple years ago in my studio, and a bunch of my viewers were like, "You look like you're at Applebee's," and so they called it Applebee's so many times that I just embraced it. I'm like, "This ain't Applebee's. This is Appalachiabees."
Appalachiabees.
So on
I like
Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, I'm at Appalachiabees. It's embarrassing. I can't believe we're talking about this out loud.
Nice. I love it. I love it. Do they still do 2-for-1 appetizers over there?
know.
Whatever. You're in there every day. Last question. What gets you fired up? What spicied up Fridays? What gets you fired up on Friday? This is dropping on a Friday, and I do a little fired up Friday.
For me, getting fired up is to watch the downward spiral of this country and to see politicians that are in it for self and nothing else but themselves. When politicians on both sides of the aisle, because people are like, Johnny, are you a blue or a red? How about I'm an American? I'm a red, white, and blue.
Amen, bro.
But you see them on both sides of the aisle that are beating the stock market by 13, 18, 19 points. And I call shenanigans on that. You have somebody that showed up, and I won't say their name, but they showed up to DC flat busted broke, and they within 2 years bought a $40 million mansion as a public service. I have a problem with that. So for me, I'm fired up. Grassroots involvement. Talk to your congressman, talk to your senator, get to know them by name. They are accessible, and most of them are pretty doggone good. My congressperson is Diane Harshbarger, and she's so easy to talk to and work with. And I think for me, what am I fired up about? I am fired up about people that supposedly work for this country, and yet they only work for themselves. I believe in this country. I really do. I love this country, and I'm not done fighting for it yet.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thanks for being one of my good friends. I love hanging out with you.
Thanks for being my friend, Colin Johnson.
Oh, I feel like we're having a little friend bro moment. That's nice. And so, listeners, if you want to be bros with Johnny B, you can subscribe, follow him on all the social media, buy some t-shirts from Tristar Trading, and just support him because he's a great guy and he's helping out America. And I'm with you, bro. I think we need to just stand up for what's right and just, fight for it. And
well, thanks for all you do. You walked me through a new house, and I'm
excited for it to close.
We're going to close
here in a little while.
But I appreciate all the work and all the help, and I think you're doing a good job in serving this community well. You're in the grassroots as well.
I appreciate it because I think we just love people, and we're going to try and take care of them like Jesus would.
So, amen.
Till next time, I'm Colin Johnson with the Colin and Carly Group and Keller Williams Realty. If you want to make a move to Johnson City and hang out with Johnny B, holler at me. If you want to build wealth, and we would love to help you do that. We manage your property, and you get a check in the mail every day, every month. Either way, we'd love to help you. So reach out, have a great day, and stay dry.